Live on Joy 99.7 FM hits 103.9 FM here in Accra, Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, myjoyonline.com. We are live in all 16 regions, ATL FM in Cape Coast, Radio Max in Takrady, KTU FM in Koforidua. We're live on X Spaces here on Facebook. The Midday News is supported by Petrol Soul Platinum Energy, energizing dreams. This afternoon, as government comes under pressure to resolve power challenges in the country, Energy Minister embarks on a visit to WAPCO to check on the scheduled pigging exercise as he promises stability within 2 weeks.
There's no gas at Batema.
Okay.
The expects are around 2nd
of March.
Okay. Mieka say we have just enough generation to meet demand. We have no reserves.
I take you live there. Also, a shocking BBC investigation reveals how unlicensed, highly addictive opioids are devastating the lives of young people in Tamale, the northern regional capital.
So who will be your supplier? You don't know the supplier. You see how you disgrace yourself to this low. Look at kids are watching you. So you want to destroy people's children. Do you have a wife?
We're live on the streets of Tamale, but despite the existence of the illegal drugs, the Food and Drugs Authority there say they are still on the lookout.
There's no chance because the system now is no registration, no importation.
Also this afternoon, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission wraps up the first phase of its payroll monitoring exercise, uncovering alarming levels of fraud. While the initiative saved the government 345 million, officials warn that the extent of payroll irregularities is deeply concerning.
Where an individual was collecting vehicle maintenance allowance, we just wanted to check what type of vehicle, and it happened to be a tractor. We've had cases where people, they were in government accommodation and kept on receiving rent allowance.
Also in this package, MP for Asin James Jachikweson pushes for expedited process to enact law which will allow dual citizens hold certain public offices.
How do we exclude them from leadership when their hearts, skills, and resources are dedicated to building our nation? Mr. Speaker, it is important that we expedite action on this passage of the Dual Citizenship Amendment Bill.
And their sports.
City rivals Atletico and Real Madrid are set to face off in the Champions League after being paired in today's round of 16 draw.
And we're still in the month of love, and in our love series today we'll tell you about a family where finding love partner on Facebook is becoming a tradition.
For her, it was a bit risky because they did the wedding plans through video calls because the guy was not in Ghana. So they met face to face when he actually came for the marriage. Wow. Yes.
Details of that and more in this edition of the Midday News. I am Emefa Apau. Please do stay on for details. Many thanks for your company. We are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. We start off from the energy scene, and the minister in charge of the sector, John Jinapo, is currently at the West Africa Gas Pipeline WAPCO station in Tema this afternoon following pressure to get the lights back on. We've been experiencing some erratic power challenges in the country, and he is there to inspect ongoing works on shutdown of pipelines, which is about 70% complete. Engineers are racing against time to complete the maintenance and restore full gas flow. Mr. Jinapo has attributed the recent erratic supply to a challenged energy sector inherited by his government. Speaking on Asempa FM's Ekosi, saying he assured stability within 2 weeks.
Fuel they are talk. So many can say we have enough fuel
in Ghana,
in tank. But because of pipeline, on your plant, you know it. Plants can be a dual fuel. Yeah. You can't dual fuel. A bit more issue gas. A bit more issue liquid fuel. Plant with say TT1 PP 100 megawatts enye juma.
But eno nye dual.
Nti we free system control center.
Okay.
Supply outlook February 20th.
Okay.
Due to the ongoing pigging exercise of the West African gas pipeline, gas supply to the Tema plants in Tema is 0 SCF.
Okay.
As you can see,
0 SCF, sure.
Because both gas are free Takradiaba. And the gas be free Nigeria
but off.
Okay. And now here's what pigging no. Where your video you can see.
Yeah.
Subsea no more no.
Sure.
My old one no me
okay.
And now pigging new one on the shemuni.
Okay.
E be do as any 2 months.
Wow.
Nti ama plants ni be.
And the gas from Atuabono, and also you see WAPCO for pipeline.
Okay. There's no gas at Tema.
Okay.
The expects are around 2nd
of March. Okay.
Mieka say we have just enough generation to meet demand. We have no reserves. Njaya neck and neck. The fuel ya dear banya ye be nyina ne say immediately within 1 month there. You bet me say over tofu not enough. Nibu den kra now there are plans are a bit more use liquid fuel. But always you need a 20% reserve margin.
Yes.
Confident no ba ko beti ma touchima kakra. Nti weekend you say enfidie no ba ko enya problem tapco. Engineers no worked overnight in less than 48 hours they brought it back. Nti ne say wo hwe ni agreed ko for their brain. Export to Sonabel will be reduced to 90 instead of 150. Export to CIA will be reduced to 70 instead of 120. Export to CEB will be reduced to 30 instead of 100. Consequently, no load management will be required during the off-peak period.
The off-peak period, okay.
The peak period, no, so near lower more.
Lower export volumes
to zero. Now even Valco, yes, Chiomo about 30 just to hold. Nti oye no ebi na plant bibi kakra ba na a lower kakra. Now you have a challenge, but immediately try to bring it up. Nti we've been doing our very best to hold the system.
Well, so you've been hearing the Energy Minister, Energy Transition Minister as well, John Jinapother, speaking on Ekosi, saying, well, he intersperses it with English entry, and he maintains that as for fuel, they have it in stock, and some of the plants are not dual fuel like the TT1PP, and it's not functioning properly. So the maintenance works are ongoing to fix these plants, and so there's no gas coming through. And he says they are hoping that the lines will be ready by 2nd of March. And as we speak, we have no reserves, but we are taking measures to manage that particular situation. And as we speak, he's just at the West Africa Gas Pipeline Company station at Tema as we speak. And my colleague Stephen Mensah is there for us and joins us on the line with more on what exactly we are learning when it comes to this situation. Stephen, so bring us up to speed on what exactly the minister has been up to since he's got to the site.
Oh, MFA, I'm currently at the West African Gas Pipeline Company station here in Tema with the Minister for Energy and Green Transition, Honorable John Jinapother. We'll be touring the facility and approach of the work done plan maintenance down. The minister who just arrived is in brief of safety protocols.
Stephen, I would get a better connection to you so we can get exactly what it is that the minister has been up to. We have a break in Stephen's line there. I'm curious to know what exactly John Jinapother has been up to since he's been at the West Africa Gas Pipeline station. But he has also moved swiftly to implement sweeping reforms. One of his key strategies is the closure of multiple ECG accounts, a move aimed at streamlining revenue collection and ensuring the effectiveness of the waterfall mechanism. We'll hear him on that, but it does appear that I have a better connection to my colleague Stephen Mensah. Stephen, you're telling me what the minister has been up to.
Yes, MFA, I'm currently at the West African Gas Pipeline station here in Tema with the Minister for Energy and Green Transition, Honorable John Jinapother. We'll be touring the facility and apprising himself of the work done so far since the planned maintenance shutdown. The minister who just arrived has been briefed on safety protocols and work done by managers of the facility. But however, I've visited to the facility. I've also seen some routine maintenance by workers of the facility.
Well, but what does he give a definite reason behind the recent outages? Has he told you anything since he's been there?
Okay, so MFA, he has not spoken to us yet, but we've been listening to one of the managers of the facility who has been explaining that the maintenance has also seen a replacement of the subsea valve replacement and also collection of data for analysis in subsequent days. The manager has also been assuring that a mandatory peak completion is expected on Saturday and a final mandatory peak completion on the 2nd of March.
Thank you very much. That's my colleague Stephen Mensah there giving us update on what the minister has been up to. We can also hear him on the other measures that they've put in place.
Look, every day we have our office, our banks, Hano, ECG contract. It's unsustainable. ECG 1.5 billion. No more keep 500.
That's emerging revenues.
Yes.
1.5 billion.
Yes.
USD.
Yes. No, CDs.
No more keep 500.
Yes. I declare only 1 billion to the cash water.
I've issued instructions. This month it will stop. Now, retaining 500 the year day, like 500 million now.
Up 3%. Omako bibi on no super vendor. Lies are ton. Almost had to be a middle name. So no na enhwenian ton lies no. Na nipa na 5%. Until right from the beginning no. About 8% up for and a tip from source.
Well, so that's the Energy Minister, John Jinapa, when he came on, he's saying he's raised concerns about some service providers on their necks for monies, but they are unable to pay. And ECG, he says, collects 1.5 billion cedis, but only declare 1 billion and keep 500 for expenses that shouldn't be there, including monies going.
Sometimes you don't even envisage. The speed of it is what is most important now, for them to be able to speed it up so that we can get gas from Nigeria. But most importantly, one thing that this thing has exposed is the fact that we have stranded gas. We are not supplying. How much gas are we producing? We haven't done exploration to production in 8 years. So we have stranded gas. So government should quickly get into the situation of making sure that we are producing gas for ourselves. So that in times like this, we don't only have to rely on Nigeria, but we can rely on our own. The reverse flow from Etuabo into Tema is something that we should look at very, very importantly once this pigging is over. But I think what this pigging would do, it will bring out some of the issues that government needs to look at going forward.
But it does appear, at least the criticism that this government has come under, at least in the early days, is the concern that we are hearing a lot of lamentations and excuses because people are expecting them to fix the situation. But all we hear are problems and then, of course, excuses that are given.
It's got to do with financing, doesn't it? Where is the economy today? How is our finances today? They have come, they've met some of these challenges, and people expect them to quickly try as much as possible to solve them. I think they are doing the possible best they can, but the planning of the energy sector is key, especially with making sure that we have the feedstock for electricity to be generated. If that doesn't happen, then we're going to go through problems. But I think the idea of them also bringing up an energy authority, a renewable authority would help. I have always said we need a policy where we can get solar into residential, where every new building that is built, there has to be a policy of solar. And if that policy is going to come in, then we need to be able to reduce the cost of solar panels so that people can, in designing new buildings, they can also put solar in, which in the future, in the next 4 to 5 years, can gradually reduce the dependence on conventional power into solar, and that conventional power can be taken into industry. Okay. So it is a question of being able to plan effectively going forward. Okay. We cannot have this kind of situation when we have to pig at any given time. Gladly, this pigging won't come on again to probably a couple of years' time. But it doesn't mean we shouldn't plan towards going forward and using the right type of technology to make sure that we don't go through these challenges frequently.
We appreciate your time. That's Mr. Kwame Jantwa. He's energy lead for the Association of Ghana Industries and Energy Analysts as well. Let's focus on some other stories now, this time on health. And the latest BBCI investigations expose is on how an Indian pharmaceutical company is manufacturing unlicensed, highly addictive opioids and exporting them illegally to West Africa, where they are driving a major public health crisis in countries including Ghana, Nigeria, and La Cote d'Ivoire. Avio Pharmaceuticals, based in Mumbai, makes a range of pills that go under different brand names and are packaged to look like legitimate medicines, but all contain the same harmful mix of ingredients: tapentadol, a powerful opioid, and carisoprodol, a muscle relaxant so addictive it's banned in Europe. Well, this combination of drugs is not licensed for use anywhere in the world and can cause breathing difficulties and seizures. An overdose, we are told, can kill. Despite the risks, these opioids are popular as street drugs in many West African countries because they are so cheap and widely available. Here are excerpts from the documentary.
I was born and bred in Tamale. I've spent almost all my life in Tamale. These drugs are destroying families. destroying young men and women with potential who otherwise would have been able to help in developing this country. The local chief is so concerned that he's given the go-ahead for a citizens' task force. Its aim is to find opioids on the streets and track down the dealers.
I'm Zike, and this is Chairman Jamal, operation leader.
Zike is a local radio presenter and a leader of the task force.
It's made up of. Our intelligence doesn't come in a one particular mode. Sometimes based on tip-off, sometimes based on the inhabitants of that particular village, sometimes a parent of the addicted children. They will give us the information. It will lead us to where they are selling it.
Also leading today's raid is Bikoko. He runs a bakery in the center of Tamale.
The Food and Drugs Board, they are the supposed authority to fight on it. And they are not. So what do?
We are getting close to the location. Today's tip-off has led the task force to one of the ghettos, the poorest neighborhoods in Tamale.
What is happening right now is the task force is here to arrest the drug dealers.
The task force detains several men who are found with opioids on them.
You don't know the supplier. You see how you disgrace yourself to this low. Look at kids are watching you. So you want to destroy people's children. Do you have a wife? Do you have a wife? How many children?
Those are excerpts of the latest BBCI investigations. However, Meshach Ganda, the principal regulatory officer with the Food and Drugs Authority in the northern region, is already downplaying the discovery.
There's no chance. Because the system now is no registration, no importation. If we are talking about established ports or points of entry, it's not likely that we will have unregistered products coming through such points of entry. But we cannot discount any such information that comes to our attention because we have a system where the perpetrators of crime will always find a way to override the system.
Let me take you live on the ground, and correspondent Martina Bugri has been checking on this particular medicine in the area and how widespread the abuse is. Martina, what did you find?
So the tramadol use in the northern region is very widespread. It's not just the capital, but across the entire region. Just go to any community and you can buy tramadol within the community, or you can walk into some pharmaceuticals and then you can acquire tramadol. Now, it's so widespread that there have been task forces, youth groups mobilizing to be able to bring sanity into the system. What it does is that these boys start initially just to keep them awake, to either do internet browsing or to work. And then with time, they just hook on it. It becomes so terrible that when we interviewed Dr. Elsie Abakasi, a psychiatrist at the Tamale Teaching Hospital, she says every 3 people that come into her office, 2 would have been using tramadol. That's how serious it is. It doesn't end there. A lecturer at the Department of Mental Health, School of Medicine, UDS, Mr. Peter Amadou, has also done a research, and it says that 58.4% of the youth would have used drugs between the age of 12 and 18. And 15 to 17, that age bracket group, 60% of them are doing drugs. And mostly it's tramadol and shisha. So these are some of the things that we have discovered, it's a major issue in the region, and people are calling on government to begin to pay attention to the area, because in the next 4 or 5 years, probably will not have same youth to help develop the area.
That's Martina Bugri there giving us the findings in the area. It wants me to go on a quick break, but before then, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission says it has saved Ghana a substantial 345 million cedis through the first phase of a nationwide payroll monitoring exercise. This initiative, which covered 120 public sector institutions in 4 regions, aimed to reduce the wage bill and enhance transparency in public sector employment. The Commission's Chief Executive Officer Benjamin Arthur tells my colleague Elton Broby that the exercise exposed deep-seated corruption on the public payroll.
This year, we want to continue with a massive engagement on that, because we believe that to save this country a lot of money. Last year, we made a lot of savings.
Like how much, for example?
Last year, it was 345 million.
From the monitoring exercise?
Yes, but you see, it has other benefits of improving on productivity and this. Because what we do, maybe if we have some other opportunities, we may shed light on that. We go out to collect comprehensive information, go out on the field to do some monitoring. We also monitor the payroll. Where we have had a challenge had to do with those who are managing their own payroll with their own IGF.
Like, for example, state-owned enterprises that pay their own workers.
That pay their own workers with their own internally generated funds.
ECG and the rest.
Come to understand that we need some policy direction to be able to curb some of the excesses.
That's Engineer Benjamin Arthur there speaking to my colleague Elton Broby on the pulse with some details on that. That full interview is available on all our social media platforms. It's a good time for a quick breather here on the Midday News Live on Joy 99.7 FM hits, 103.9 FM here in Accra. In Kumasi, we're on Love 99.5 FM. We're on myjoyonline.com live in all 16 regions. Kind courtesy of our various affiliates. We're live on X Spaces on Facebook. The Midday News is supported by Petrol Soul Platinum Energy, energizing dreams. We've been talking about the energy sector situation as the energy minister makes an urgent visit to the WAPCO site to address ongoing outage in the area. We'll return with sports, and then we hear from the MP for Asin North, James Jachikwation, pushing for expedited process to enact law which will allow dual citizens hold certain public offices. And in our love series, we'll tell you about a family where finding love partner on Facebook is becoming a tradition.
For her, it was a big risk because they did their wedding plans through video calls because the guy was not in Ghana. So they met face to face when he actually came for the marriage.
Wow.
Yes.
Where did I? Now I don't know when I just saw.
Obiang, what's the chrome ha? And to want to say petrol software energizing dreams for motion. Hey boy.
Petrosol are celebrating their 10 years in grand style. They're giving back to their loyal customers. Hope you have registered at their online portal. Don't say I didn't tell you all.
Each month, customers will stand a chance of winning items like tricycles, motorcycles, television sets, refrigerators, phones, fuel vouchers, and many more. But the best part is that at the end of the promo, we will be giving out a grand prize of 2 Suzuki Espresso cars to lucky winners who stay with us all through the promo period. All you need to join is to visit any of our over 100 stations across the country to get registered, or go to www.petrosolcrm.com to register online.
Petrosol, energizing dreams.
Hey, dear Yamsa. And you stay soft concentrate fabric softener. I was such it move. Just send this say be you met na wache. New units na wache. No bia baby some was some demoni ni na say. Dear Yam say. Fair quiet yesim biara association Ontario. Use stay soft and new units na wache. Nani boss to da from cra. A fabric softener. And ye near say sir. Choose to stay soft. No who so say no. FDID a dreading cra to yatu.
It's time for sports. Mr. Tanaklo is here. Hello.
Hi, MFI. It's been 3 weeks since the former Kumasi Asante Kotoko fan Francis Frimpong was fatally stabbed. Yet, those who claim to have witnessed the unfortunate incident have failed to put a face to the suspects to the Ghana Police Service. President of the Ghana Football Association, Kets Edwin Okreku, is urging these eyewitnesses to come forward and help the police identify the suspects.
Happened in Instrateman, there was a human being with that person who used the knife or whatever it is to take the life of Nanapoli. That person must be honest. That person who was the killer must be honest and come out to tell us where the killer is. If that person is honest, if that person loves life, if that person loves football, this is the time for that person to be honest to football by telling us where that killer is. Because wherever that killer is, we will chase he or she out of their hiding place or his hiding place and bring him or her to justice.
The round of 16 draw for the UEFA Champions League was concluded today. Real Madrid will take on Atletico. Barcelona have been paired against Benfica. Borussia Dortmund will play LOC Lille. Bayern Munich are facing German side Bayer Leverkusen. Liverpool also have been handed a draw against Paris Saint-Germain. Inter Milan will play PSV Feyenoord Academy from the Netherlands. PSV face Arsenal, and Club Brugge will take on Aston Villa.
Thank you very much, Ashu. Let's get to Parliament now. An MP for Aston North, James Jachikwesing, is pushing for an expedited process to amend the constitution to allow dual citizens hold certain public offices. He's been speaking in Parliament.
Mr. Speaker, Black History Month allows us to reflect on the perseverance of our people throughout history. Slavery, institutional racism, and the ongoing fight for equality. Africa, despite being rich in natural resources, remains paradoxically underdeveloped due to centuries of exploitation, colonization, and unfair global systems. I stand here not as a victim of political challenges, but as a testament to the resilience of every Ghanaian who believes in the power of democracy.
Well, let me bring in Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante on this. Kweku, we also know that there's an announcement for the State of the Nation address. Tell us more.
Well, yes, it is now confirmed next week Thursday, the President John Dramani Mahama will deliver his first State of the Nation address of his second term. There are some stringent national security rules that have been put in place, including the fact that members of Parliament would have to be seated by 9:15 a.m. or they will not be allowed to enter the chamber once the President does enter. And so some members have expressing concerns about that because they seem really novel from the arrangement that have been in the past. But it's now confirmed John Mahama's first sooner next week Thursday.
Thank you very much. That's Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante. Now we're still in the month of love, and not everyone believes love can begin on Facebook. But for Abishak and Hessen, that's exactly where their story started. Surprisingly, Abishak wasn't the first in her family to find love online. Well, Emmanuel Jivenu has the rest of the story.
Love has a way of finding us in the most unexpected places. For Abishak and Hezron, that place was Facebook.
We met on Facebook, social media. Facebook, I think she's been my friend since 2019 on Facebook, but we hadn't really had a chat before.
Both had recently suffered heartbreak, and in their shared pain, they found solace.
He had liked this girl for long, but this girl didn't want to give in to his proposal, and he was like, he's heartbroken. I was also telling him about a guy I think I liked, but he was also not making, ghosting me here and there. It was like, let's comfort each other since we are in the same soup.
Then came the big moment, their first meeting.
Before I bought it, I was like, Madam, my house is not flashy room. So when you see that, don't run, that's for comfort. So I was ready to run, like what I could do.
And when I came, everybody came to welcome me.
Well, love on Facebook, whether it's real or not, that's the story that we've been telling you. Emmanuel Jivenu, that's a whole, feature is available on our social media platforms. You want to watch it for yourself. MNJ, Jackie and Shola. Have you found love on Facebook before?
Jackie has Shola has.
Speak for yourself. What are people talking about on social media?
It's a sad Friday.
Very, very sad Friday because we've lost a veteran actor, Mauli Semevo, very good one, and I know we will miss him. We here at Joy had the opportunity to always have him in the house anytime it was Ghana month. So now we're thinking Ghana month is just next month, and we don't know.
Just some few days away to Ghana month. So sad. I mean, last week I heard he was somehow okay. He was getting better. I spoke to Judith, and I don't know what happened. We sadly lost him, and social media has been reacting to his demise. Let's read a couple of comments. But before that, let's take a listen to the recent movie that he starred in, YOLO.
This were the old days. I would have given you 6 lashes, or even here. Kabanto, off you go. The boy who wants to go to the toilet. You can go. I am giving you 30 seconds. If even you are a microsecond late, don't bother to come here.
I'm sure you don't.
I'm having goosebumps all over.
I know you don't know this one, but the way your nose is shaking, blaya blaya.
Yeah, my mom says it all the time. So Hot FM posted this video and it had a lot of reactions. We take a few. Elom says that which one of them? This is very sad. As it says, forever in our hearts. Rest in peace. A lot of rest in peace messages just trooping in, and people talking about their favorite movie of his. So
we really have to go. We're out of time. May his gentle soul rest in perfect peace. And that's it for the midday news. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. On Hits, we bring you entertainment. Living Word with Pastor Menzel Tabil, Relationships, episode 10. I am MF Apau. Enjoy the rest of the day.